Hello, my beautiful soul family. Once again, it's Rainbow Shift Focus.
So exciting.
Welcome back. Ah, it's your girl, Simone. I am a trans woman. Been transitioning for over 20 years now. And I'm also a life authenticity coach and also a Reiki practitioner level 2. I am here to shift things a little bit. So let's shift.
Awesome. All right. I'll do my quick introduction. I'm Mark Muse. I am a licensed therapist and coach and teacher, amongst many other things, but also just a queer Gen Xer that um, is kind of loud and likes to scream about it.
I love that.
Right. So what's been going on for you, Simone?
For me, it's like, I know this is inappropriate for some people, but I'm not the professional, like a coach. I don't do that whole, oh my gosh, I have to be so proper. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, what is
So
going
good.
on in society right now? It's like one thing after another. Like, as I'm just like doing like some like researching and just looking at things throughout social media and stuff like that throughout my life, being a business student and an entrepreneur and just trying to get through life and just look at things and you're like, wow, this is interesting how stuff are unfolding.
Oh yeah.
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 I don't know, for me, what was coming up is just a lot of like, what did we do? Like, why are you targeting the trans community? Like,
Mhm.
when the whole campaign thing was going on, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I see how their views were going. I saw that they were going after economy stuff, war this, battling back and forth, and then you just come up with the whole poof, trans problem. Bam, here it is. And I'm just like, wow, what the heck did we do? I mean, I know we're gorgeous. I know we're outstanding. I know we stand out. I know we're that much of a baddie. But I'm just saying, are we that much of a threat? Your thoughts on this, Mark? Like, I just, yeah.
No, I hear you, and then I have to say I've been asking that question for a while because this whole issue, this whole really it's not an issue. It never has really been an issue, but it's something that started in states like Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and some other very conservative areas. And
Mm.
the challenge with this is that it was never about anything being wrong with trans, other than the fact that most people struggled to wrap their heads around a trans identity. And trans people are literally one of the most vulnerable populations in the US, one of the least understood. And it's as trans people have gotten visibility, which I've been thrilled about. As somebody who's worked with, I've had trans people in all of my adult life. I've worked with trans people for years. Um, and, in a therapy capacity and coaching, all that, just like I love working with them. I love seeing that people becoming who they are. But to people who are really religious conservative and very politically conservative, this whole concept of the way that you're born could not necessarily match up 100% to the way you present is beyond confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into why because then we'll have a few more expletives than we probably need to have come out of that. But most of it's ignorance and an unwillingness to embrace the spectrum, the variety and diversity of the way that we express gender and sexuality. But what really made the difference is because kids were starting to transition earlier, which is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, is so amazing because they grow up in so much more of a healthy way when they're able to start transitioning at an earlier age. The majority of the people that I have worked with and with gender affirming care,
Mm-hmm.
them reported knowing by age of 6 that that their gender identity was not matching up to their body.
I remember, I truly remember that part. Oh my gosh. Sorry to interrupt you, Mark,
No
but
worries.
it
Yeah.
really it reminded me of a memory that I always remember when I was like little back in Barbados. And I don't remember if it was elementary or preschool, one of the two. But I remember being in class and this wasn't just me knowing that I was trans at this time. That I don't even know what that was. I was 6 years old. Um, but I knew something was different. And every single time I go to class, I would see this young boy, and I'm like, the little boy, and I'm like, he's cute. You know, just like having these feelings and stir up inside. And I was like, there's something different. Like I'm not like every other little boy. This is just yeah, no. That's I'm like when people say we don't know those things at a very young age, and just like I knew. I knew. Trust me. Like flat out the back.
But they capitalized on that
Yeah.
and they needed an other. They needed somebody in addition to immigrants to vilify. So they needed somebody that was easy to get rid of, which was the immigrants, and then they needed somebody else. And so they went to the most vulnerable. And there's a history of this in authoritarian regimes is when you keep people in this binary, then then it's very easy to control people. It's easy to create that other, that enemy, that person that's taking away from them, or they could be attacking their kids, which you don't want to, you don't want to go against mama and papa bears,
Hmm.
if they think their kids are under attack.
Okay.
And Florida went after it. We watched it. It started really before we moved back here, but they started spreading lies
Hmm.
that um, that kids were being forced, they were being convinced, and
Yeah.
um, that's just not true. But it's a great question, and it's a great thing to think about because at the end of the day, all of this gender affirming care that we've had in place has been in place for decades. It's not new. It's well researched, no matter what all of the right wing media and propaganda machines want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It is well researched. We know the effects of these treatments. The treatments for youth are not transgender youth are not receiving surgeries. If they are, it's an extreme. And it's something that was life-threatening to begin with, or that they were at a stage where that was the right time to do something that usually has to do with somebody who's intersexed.
Yeah.
So, hormone therapies at that age are reversible. They don't sterilize children. They're not taking away their reproductive abilities later in life. And but think about the fear of that. And so that's where we have to come back to this is what they wanted. They wanted an enemy and
Yep.
they got it. And I hate it because I have friends that have been transitioned for a long, long time, like yourself, right? That um, have never ever even considered hoarding medications because they didn't feel like it was necessary. They had access. That
Yeah.
are now starting to sit there and go, I think may need to stockpile some medications. I
Think
have,
with that.
yeah, I have friends and colleagues that are talking about escape plans, which,
Hmm.
yeah.
Trust me, I know. I have a couple of friends and a family member just thinking about it. Mm. It's really mind-boggling on the process of things. And it's like when you said that about the medication, Mark. Though I have a different alternative of taking my hormones and stuff like that, it's really crazy when you think about it. When I'm reading how the gender affirming care can be snatched away from an individual that's literally providing them the necessary tools to live their life. And you just want to sit here and say, oh, that's not important. We just want to basically take that away from you because, oh, it doesn't really matter. No, it matters. It matters to an individual to keep them alive. It matters to individuals, not only physical aspect, but also the mental.
Mhm.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's really crazy how they're trying to take away this gender affirming care that is very vital to a person's own being.
Hmm. Yeah, it is tough. I just read a article this morning um, that Planned Parenthood in Arizona has temporarily halted all gender affirming care,
Mm.
even though their restrictions from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services was only for trans youth, they stopped it for everyone. And so people who had regular appointments scheduled had them canceled or rescheduled as a result. Texas has tried to literally make it a felony to identify as trans.
Yeah, I I interrupted, but I just seen that little post. I made it on my Instagram about that video that they made. I think I forgot. Oh my gosh, the name is Positive Attitude, if I got it correctly. Positive Attitude LLC or something like that. Their Instagram page, and they made like a little nice, beautiful like collage video of all like different trans people and talking about giving hope to everyone and just letting them know that you are valid, you're
Mm.
meant to be here. Your identity is your identity, and they cannot take that away from you. So it's like, and this beginning of it was a little girl, and she was talking about how that she lived in Texas, but now they're relocating with her mom to I think just like Connecticut, and that's really because of the simple fact that it's not safe for them there anymore. I mean,
Mhm.
the girl was trans, and I was like, wow, can you look at that? You have to up and move your whole life. For her, she probably grew up there, born there, kind of like, and you have to up and leave the place you were born at just to live and survive. Like, what is the world coming to? Are we for real?
It is. It's hard. It's scary. Um, I hear that frequently here, and there's oftentimes that's kind of thrown around. Well, just move to a state where it's easier. But that's not true for everybody. That may not be possible for everyone. And
No,
if you have a family and you're rooted in an area, you may rely on that community to be able to take care of your kids.
yeah, especially if it's family, friends, not every mother and father can just up and leave somewhere because literally they have a community of people that help them keep their children and alive and going. Because all mom and dad work these days, like, and heavy hours at that.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy when you think about you might have to sacrifice that just to move to a place where your kid can live safe. You don't have to worry about them walking down the street or being hurt or abused or like in some type of way, probably to the extreme of things. It's really sad. There's a lot of these posts that you read about, like where, like for example, one trans individual was just murdered in Colombia, and both arms are broken. Just give me, yeah, both arms are broken and both legs were broken, and then thrown into the river. And I was just like, so you have that much hatred in your heart for a person that's just living their authenticity,
Mhm.
just being themselves, expressing their soul. Like, let's be real. Like, we all have a soul, and that soul loves to express itself regardless of how you basically want to put it. Like,
Mhm.
straight, gay, trans, lesbian, whatever. We all have our own way of expressing ourselves. And that's just her way of expressing her. Being trans, being creative, being the essence. And yeah, it just wants to basically smother that. And I was like, wow, this is really bothering. But at the same time, a lot of like support and a lot of like hope is coming from the post where, you know, a lot of people are coming to say, like, this is not right. We have to really think about this as a nation. You have to really think about this deeply. Like, if you gotta do this to a person just to show your masculinity, you're not a man.
Oh, oh, we'd have to do an entire podcast on my
Yeah, you know what I mean? So,
whole views on masculinity, and because so much of this is tied to this concept that men are superior to women. And
yes,
so there's any concept that a man would reduce himself to being a woman is so horrifying to
yes,
these so-called alpha males. I
yep.
loved one, and I wish I knew who to credit it to. They're like, if you want to talk about alphas, think about like an alpha version of a software. It's buggy and unstable. Why the hell would you want to be that? Um, but so much of this is tied to masculinity, and I've seen
Yeah.
this over and over again. And almost every time that I've had somebody come in and talk to me about, oh, I have to be this masculine, or, I'm expecting women to be like this because that's what feminine is supposed to be, and I'm supposed to be masculine.
Oh,
Like almost inevitably, I hear from them, oh, and then there's somebody that I follow that's against trans people. I don't dislike them, but I don't understand them, and therefore I'm not going to want them to, I'm not going to want to encourage their rights. And it's like, seriously?
right.
Um, but anyway, seriously, it takes too long. That's going to have to be something on its own.
Yep. Literally. So look forward to that, everyone, because we're going to be definitely popping up a podcast about masculinity and the toxicity behind it. At
Yeah.
least the ones that are like, you know, toxic. There's some masculine men out there that are very like, you know, balanced and are in their feminine energy. And I give props to the brothers that literally just step out to be different. But there are a lot of toxic men in this masculine form that think that that's how a man should live. And
Yeah.
that's not even the case.
Sure.
But yeah, that'd be a whole different podcast for another day. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to do that another time because, ooh, um,
Yeah.
I don't have much patience for it. I grew up around that culture and I've seen it all my life, and it's just a load of crap. Um, all it is to protect fragile egos. And why the hell? Seriously, you're the willingness to hurt people, and effort to protect that fragile ego is beyond me. Um, the good thing though is, and the one thing that I have to say that I have been seeing is, at least at the state and local levels, we have seen some pushback that's been effective, and not all these laws are going into place.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness.
See more of that.
Yes. And it's like when you look at it and you like hear the pushback and the resilience, like, you know, Mark Tyson's resilience course, if you guys want to go over, you can check it out. Just saying. It literally helps you to stand proud and tall and be brave enough and have the courage to be like, no, no, like, no, there's going to be pushback because this is unethical and this is not happening.
Mhm.
It's like when you think about it, like right now, from research, 854 bills we're literally just put into office to basically be either decide to be passed or failed.
Mhm.
Right now there's 773 of them that are active. 70 of them were passed, and 47 are failed.
Mhm.
That's a huge number. That's mind-boggling. 854. Okay.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount. I mean, and so many of them around trans athletes. There's more people that
Yeah.
are infected with the measles right now than we have trans athletes in our like NCAA athletic system. And this all of these are laws in search of a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you bring it to real scrutiny, and just like they did with the one about the ban of transgender people in the military,
Yeah.
the judge was very clear. Like, this is not a problem. You are in search of, you are trying to put a solution in for something that doesn't exist,
Yep.
that it doesn't need to be there. And it's, you're doing it with just complete, well, what she described as animus, meaning just hatred or not liking the person. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
something about it that says that there's a real problem here. And so many judges have been like, when you look at this and some of the bills put in place is to stop gender affirming care, especially at the youth level, is there is complete bias in it. And there's nothing that says that there was an epidemic or an outbreak or an issue or harm being done that
Mm-hmm.
requires this special sliver of exception that they're not only are you going to take it away from them, but you're going to criminalize parents and medical providers as a result.
Yes.
But what's interesting, if you go in and you read these laws, especially in the state of Florida, of
Mm-hmm.
what's in place, these are written as if the doctors walked in and tried to convince you that you were going to be trans and that they were going to transition you.
Yeah.
Not that people were coming in saying, I am transgender and I'm looking for help and support, which is what happens.
I hear you.
I it I was talking to my husband the other day because we were talking about some of this and what people that are really struggling with this have never seen is somebody who has transitioned and seeing them for their first time as their real, authentic, true selves that they
Mm-hmm.
have to work hard to get to and to see the happiness and the joy and the comfort uh, in their faces and in their bodies and how they are just who they are. It is so immensely beautiful. It is, I only played a role. I only played it really, and my role was almost purely administrative and just to be that positive support for them because when somebody comes in and they tell me that they're trans, I believe that they're trans. We spend time talking about it and understanding what brought them to that conclusion, but that's not up to me. But when they get to that place in their lives, it is so incredibly beautiful. You've never seen such happiness. Well, you have. I know you know it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the first time, oh my gosh, this is over. Like I said earlier in the introduction, this is over 20 years now. It's like I remember the first time I first like started putting on dresses and like wear actual heels and things of that nature. I was a young hairstylist and I was just like, I want to express myself because you work around all these hairstylists that a majority of them are probably like, gay men, stuff like that. And then you had the female ones that were like, okay, because they love that gay men. And I'm like, yes. The love of the gay men, the authenticity, and it just like really sparked this thing in me. I was like, wow, you know what? I'm gonna basically live my authenticity. I'm just gonna live as who I wanna be. And that's where it started. And I was like, I did the whole like heel thing, dresses. Then from there, it went into a whole phase of me just starting to live my life as a female. And eventually, my grandmother came into me, who I really don't really converse with anymore. Um, and being from Barbados, it's a different background and atmosphere when it comes to being gay and lesbian and stuff in that nature. And gosh, put trans on top of it, honey. You asking for disaster. She was like, figure it out. She was like, you need to figure it out. I can't do this. I don't understand it. Either you're a girl or you're a boy. Which one is it? There, that's when I was like, all right, fine, fuck it. No, I am not living as somebody I don't want to live. And so I started my transition and just went straight at full female from there. And never looked back. I mean, from there, I went to my therapy for almost 2 years before I started taking hormone therapy. And yes, we have to go through therapy. We just don't pop hormones out of like a box and just start taking them out of nowhere. It doesn't happen like that. We just don't, sign up for some surgery and it's like, yeah, we get out of the blue. Before I even got my first surgery, which was my gender reassignment surgery, it was probably 10 years into my transition. Almost 10 years. So yeah, no, it takes time. You have to go through a whole process. You have to be evaluated. You have to go to therapy. You have to make sure that you're mentally prepared for this because once you do this transition series, once you go through the final steps of surgery, it is final. There's no turning back. So yes, it's a process.
Yeah. Well, I, I think that there is some hope out there.
Yes,
We are
indeed.
seeing some pushback. April 5th was a great example of us as citizens stepping up and saying, nope, not okay with this.
Yeah.
And that was needed. Now we have to keep it going. We have to keep that moving forward. Because to be honest, a lot of our Congress people aren't doing crap right now. Um,
I don't know. They're probably just, I feel bad for them, but at the same time, I need y'all to do some cojones. And I'm not even full Spanish. Like I can't speak my full Spanish, but trust me, cojones, I know.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
come on. Like, I know my girl Jackie was doing her thing in there, and so many other people are trying to stand up, but they can't do it alone. I'm gonna need the Congress people like to just put your foot down. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, we out here just trying to live our lives in peace. We're already alienated with the whole fact that we're different. And like,
Yeah.
why are you trying to make things worse for us? It's time to live our peace. It's not like we're going around committing murders, committing like rape and all this extra stuff that people want to sit here and so believe. We're not going around sitting here sex trafficking kids and adults. Like we're not doing any of that. We're literally just living our lives in peace. Like shoot, we go to a ball here and there. We go see a friend, get a little cocktail, have martini, do whatever. Like go dance, shake our booty, have a little sexual stuff. Like we're living our life. We're living our lives like if it was back in like the early freaking 1980s, which is a really good time for people. Just beating themselves, getting everywhere, having fun, snap, snap, and that was it. Like, yeah. So I'm just like, y'all can try all you want. You're negative, hating. Oh, I'm just trying to keep my temper under control right now. Fascist individuals. Like you can try all you want, but baby, at the end of the day, we ain't going nowhere.
No,
We ain't going nowhere. And we're
no.
gonna keep with the pushback. We're gonna build a community so strong, with such a strong fortress, such a strong front line that you're not gonna even know what to do.
Yes, and we do it with style.
Yes.
Loud. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we're
Yeah.
gonna sprinkle the glitter, baby, and you just be like a witch, freeze up and die. The evil one. Uh yeah. I just want y'all to know that regardless of what's going on out here with these whole bills and the separation they try to do within society, with, trying to separate trans people from society as in general, excuse me, it's just a sign that you're needed, baby.
Hmm.
You're
Oh, so,
needed.
so neat. Um, and wanted, no matter what
Yes.
the news media wants to tell you. Uh, well, from my side, I've been, I work with a lot of people going through different things, but again, from a therapy and coaching perspective. But one of the things that's really been coming up is all of this stuff that's going on. It's all intentional. They're flooding the zone. They're trying to overwhelm us with all of this stuff. And I've noticed people getting are seeing a lot more writing and push to say it's time to stop grieving, it's time to start fighting. And I just really have to push back on that just a little bit, in that we have to do both. We have
Mhm.
to continue to grieve what's been lost so far. And grief doesn't have to be over the loss of a person. It can be the loss over something, anything really important to us can create grief and loss in our lives. And it sometimes starts before that loss when we know that it's going to go away. I mean, I used to see this when I worked hospice, and we would call that anticipatory grieving, and that we're starting to grieve the person before they're actually gone.
Yeah. Yes.
It, right now, we have to grieve the fact that our country has changed,
Mm.
mentally changed right now. That's not hyperbole. That's not me overreacting.
Mm-mm.
We have a regime that is blatantly saying that they, want to embrace authoritarian rule. Things have changed, and we need to. It's not so much about embracing, but accepting,
Yes.
recognizing that some of these things and the way that we understood them are gone. It
Mm.
doesn't mean we can't get something back, but it's going to be different than it was. So my hope is we hit midterms and we're going to be able to turn this stuff around. Put that word hope in there because that's my hope. I'm trying some of the stuff coming up recently has said to me that hope is warranted, but I'm not hanging my hat on it quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we need to take time.
Yes.
Grief takes energy. It
Mm.
takes We have to hold it. We have to experience it. We actually have to feel that loss and the emotions that come with it, the anger, the sadness, frustration, even emptiness that can come with that. But we have to take that time, and then we have to say, okay, I've grieved that for today. It's time to set it down,
Mm.
not bury it, but set it aside so that I can now live my life and I can move forward and I can fight for the things that are important to me. And we have
It's
to do that every day. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no work. I was waiting for you to finish. Sorry. I was just thinking in my head, like, it's like a caterpillar. It goes through its phases of metamorphosis. Like, literally, this is that process right now that's what we're going through. Like, you're gonna literally have to go in the cocoon, baby. Go in the cocoon and grieve and heal and process all of your emotions. Trust I would know. Like literally, like you have to, because if you do not, You cannot be a powerful warrior on the front line. You cannot be someone to sit there and be an advocate to help stand up for the trans community or the LGBTQ. You cannot be a person to be like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to be resilient. I'm ready to push back. But you haven't even processed your own shit.
Mhm.
How are we gonna go to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So process that grief. Go through the metamorphosis and embrace every ounce of you that bursts out of that cocoon like a butterfly and they like flap those wings and be like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. They want us right now so buried in our grief that we can't get out, and grief does accumulate. That's why it's important to process this as we go.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows us, by, from my perspective, by grieving, by accepting this, by recognizing what it is that we're losing or have lost, is this is how we resist. This is how we come out of that cocoon. This is how we push back. Because from this, we get to continue to live our lives. We get to be those loud, colorful, wonderful people that stand up and make noise and make everything pretty. Um,
But don't forget the glitter.
um, but this is how we move forward. And it's the first step. And
Awesome.
we're at the beginning of this. Let's not forget it's only been 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It ain't too far in at all. Just this bare speck was just planted. Okay, I'm gonna need y'all to realize that it's just the beginning. So if I don't process now, how you gonna process later when the real stuff really hits the ceiling?
Mhm.
All right, my loves. How?
All right.
But just remember, have faith. Hold on to that seed of hope. Plant it in a plant if you have to this spring, summer. Shoot, start some gardening, something, and just plan your intention and stuff. And just literally be like, I'm planting the seed of hope right now. I'm putting my intention of hope in this little journal I'm journaling. I'm literally setting my intention of hope throughout my day today because that is what you're going to have to hold on to ride this wave of craziness, okay? Period. Like, period. So on that note, my loves, we love you. We hear you. We see you.
All right. Until next time.
Until next time, my loves.